Okay, welcome everyone to the DevNation show number 12 or number 13. I don't even remember. Anyway, I'm happy to be here. Let me double check everything goes well on the streaming side. Yes, I can see myself, so it should be good. Just confirm in the chat that you can hear me, see me. Hi James. Hi, we got Tony there. Tony TV, good morning. He says, oh, you haven't seen much DevNation in a while. Yeah, that's the show, so it's a bit different. Hey, Edson. Edson is there as well. Awesome. So, DevNation show. Today is almost the last show. We will have one extra next week. To be honest, I still don't know the format. Not sure there will be a guest next week because I haven't found a guest. But I was thinking maybe next week we can just all together play games like we did since this summer. So all the best games that we had, some trivia, some Doom, some Tetris, some Pac-Man, some Quake, and we just spend 1 hour all together to play games and maybe chat a bit with everyone. Hi, Philippe is there as well. Awesome. And that will be, so next week is the last show of 2020. Hey, Sun is there as well. And in 2021, there will be some changes. Don't worry, the show will be still there, but we will have a different schedule. You will know more about that, but in January, the show will be on Thursday, and it will be 1 week DevNation show, 1 week the Tech Talk with Edson, okay? So, hopefully it will be a time that fits better for everyone, and I will get all the people from the Tech Talks, that usually come on Thursday, so, that could be cool. Hey, yeah, and James comes with some suggestions. A guest could be Burr. Yeah, well, could be. Clayton, that should be great. Maybe for next year. I think it's a bit short now to get, Clayton, for next week. Anyway. So, lot of people on the chat. That's cool. We are going, to start the interview, in a few seconds. But you know it now. Every time I play the jingle because I still don't have the budget to have the team to have a band playing for me. So today we go back for some Brazilian instruments. Let me pick it. So this one, I don't remember the name. Maybe it's a you remember. Kishasha, something like that. My wife always told me that. Okay, so jingle, and then I will put the other jingle, and then we start the interview. Okay, so you're ready. Okay, now I put the jingle. Voila. So we are back, and my guest is there. Let me let me put side by side so we can see you in big. One moment. Where is this setting? Oh yeah, there we are. Awesome. Yes, there we are. Awesome. Hey, Teg, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Okay.
Very happy to be here today.
Yeah, I'm also really happy to have you on the show. So I put the banner, everything is good to go. So, Teg, please, can you introduce yourself for people who don't know you?
So I am Tug Dual. It's a Celtic name. I'm Tug Dual Gral. I'm working for Redis Labs in the DevRelation dev marketing team, so helping the developers to adopt and use Redis. And previously, I worked a little bit as product manager as Red Hat, and I work in many data platforms like Mappa, MongoDB, Couchbase, Oracle, more or less all the time related to the link with the developers. So I like to help people to develop their applications with the product I am using or I am working on.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and you're also really close to the Java ecosystem, no? You are managing the Nantes jug, is that correct?
Yeah. So as you can guess from my accent, I am based in France. I am French, and I live in Nantes, very close to Nantes. And what happened is when I used to work for Oracle, work in California, when I moved back to France, I was missing the relation with many developers and so on. So I tried to build something, and it was the beginning of all the Java user group in France. So I built the community with a friend on May 2008. And since we have monthly meetings, except this year it's a little more complicated. But you will come as a guest in 2 weeks or next week. I don't remember.
Next week, yeah.
But it's a very nice and very active community, because in Nantes you have company like Talent that has a development center, Datadog. You have many of your colleagues also. You have few Red Hatter into working from Nantes. So it's quite active in terms of the developer community.
Exactly, yeah. Nantes is really active, yeah. And last question about Nantes. Is Nantes in Brittany or not?
So in my point of view, it is, at least the part that is north of the Loire, north of the river. Because the castle is called Under Bretagne. And you have many Breton flags, so I will say yes. And especially because I live close to Nantes and I am proud to be Breton. So I will say yes.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I could have asked, do you prefer tabs or spaces? But yeah. Seeing you're coming from Nantes, I had to ask this question. Okay, hey, tell me more about Redis. So, what is Redis? Do you have one product, different products? Tell me a bit about Redis, and then I will ask you other questions. But
so to make it short, is the way you will see Redis is an in-memory database. This is a open source in-memory database. It was created in 2009 by Salvatore Sanfilippo that needed a centralized kind of repository for some data they want to store and access very, very quickly. And he created his own system, and it has to be very, very simple. So speed and simplicity, simplicity to use, simplicity to start, simplicity to manage, were the different kind of part of the DNA of the product. And this is one of the reasons, being in-memory, simple and very fast, that it has been used, and it's used every day as cache for many, many, many applications.
Yes, I was about to say, for me, Redis is a cache. No, so, I'm probably wrong.
So it is. You are true, but it's more than a cache. It's really, okay. The thing is, and this is one of the reasons I joined. So I work for Redis Labs, that is providing an enterprise version of it on the managed version on the cloud. And more and more developers, more and more applications are using Redis to do more than a simple cache. So obviously you have many use cases where you want to have a very quick access to the data. You want to be able to cache the data to reduce latency, to reduce the number of calls you do to something, or have some very fast business logic. What you will see is you can do rate limiting, for example. You want to create an API gateway. You want to quickly see how many times this service has been called and make a decision very quickly. Because it's a key value store by default, but the value, it's not a simple string or a simple binary. It is, you have multiple data structure. You have strings, you have hash, you have sets, you have sorted sets. So you have a specific data structure that you can use to make powerful kind of applications. And based on that, what was interesting is people start to move the data away from their primary database or main data store into Redis. And they were almost only using the data in Redis. So when you start to do that, you want to have something actually highly available, highly scalable, and persisted on disk. So this is why you see more and more users, more and more applications also using Redis as a database. You can store your product catalog, your users, your configurations for your applications. You won't necessarily use Redis, but it's true for most of the NoSQL database to build your invoice system or your accounting system. It's not the best probably database for that, but when you want to have a very flexible, fast database, it's a nice fit.
Okay. Sorry if people probably always ask you the question, but if I hear highly scalable, fast, it sounds a bit like Kafka.
So
in my naive point of view, yeah.
So it is, but Kafka will give you a log of event.
Yes.
So will you put, for example, we don't do that a lot anymore, but when you have stateful applications, so you need to store a state of something, and you need, for example, in a microservices application, you want to share some information between services. It could be some configuration, it could be some business data, depending on what you need. How you do that to make it very fast? I don't think you will necessarily put always that in a message between communication. If it's just a simple key that you want to address, you won't play the game of reading the data, acknowledge you have read, you will just get on set, get on set, get on set. So this is, in this sense, that I'm saying it's very fast. And when I say it's very fast, I used to work as a technical account manager at Redis Labs, where I was monitoring and helping some of the customers that were using our managed cloud. So their Redis instance were on the cloud. We look at the dashboard, and the data has to respond, the database access, the latency has to be less than 1 millisecond. So when you get the operation, get the data in and out, less than 1 millisecond. And obviously, it's not always the case. If you have a big value, if you have to do a complex operation between lists, if you compare some lists. So this is not the same use case as Kafka. When you have a lot of integration with Kafka, or people, or this one I will slide a little bit on this case, I will come back to, oh yes, but it is Kafka. It's because what happened when you start to work with Redis, you use it as a cache, you start to use it as a database to store some part of your application, and you say, oh, it's nice, easy to install, easy to use, I can use it in any programming language. Why I cannot use this to do some event or message exchange between my services and between my application? So you have two ways of doing that. So yes, you can do that with Redis. One of ways that is very old, I think we are in Redis 6, and I think it was introduced in Redis 2. It's the publish subscribe mechanism. So you can publish a string on a specific key that is in this case called a channel, and you may have many subscribers. So you have no guarantee of delivery. It's just fire and forget, consume if it's there. So this way of programming was, or this specific data structure that we could publish subscribe, is used a lot about notification. So you don't necessarily, it's okay if you lose a message, or it's not important if a consumer doesn't read it and so on, a subscriber doesn't read it. But in Redis 5, Redis streams, the new data structure, was introduced. And in this case, it's very, very, very close to Kafka. So in the concept, you have a topic. Instead of a topic, you have a key. And the message is a set of key value pair behind this, and it's ordered by the timestamp. And for each timestamp, if you have two messages arriving in the same milliseconds, you may have heard sometimes that Redis is monothreaded. Something that it's part of the DNA of the server to make simplicity, to avoid having to manage with lots on everything. Every operation you do on the data, when you do set or get, or when I say set or get, you have many other operations. It's on a single thread, on a single shard. So meaning if you have two messages from the client that goes at the same moment, in the database, you only have one that is before the other. And you have other thread on the side to manage IOs, replication, and all this, but for manipulating the data in memory, it's a single thread. So the messaging part, Redis streams, could be used technically almost in the same place as Kafka. The big difference in this case, programming model is the same. The big difference is the size of the ecosystem that you have with Kafka that you don't have today with Redis streams. But what I use on one of the demos that I built during since you and me, we are not traveling that much anymore, so we have more time to spend on the keyboard. I built a demonstration on one of the stuff that I have done. I use Debezium to capture event and put the transaction instead of using Kafka to move the messages, I put that on streams, and then I consume that in different ways in Redis. So you see you have many use cases you can have using the core data types. So you have 10 data types. Streams is one of them, pub, sub, string, geo, and so on. And you can even do more with what we call Redis module extension at the top of the DB.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember the first time I used Redis was in 2012 or 11, I think. And it was to cache API request, GET request that I was doing, and I had a rate limit, and I was stuck. And then I discovered Redis. I could cache my GETs response, and that saves me. And
and the nice parts, if I have one advice to give to everybody, the ones that use Redis already and the ones that do not use Redis, if you do not, take a look. It's very easy, very simple. The ones that are using Redis, be sure you don't only use one single data structure. Because very often people are just using Redis as key value, where the value is a string. They don't look at what could be done in more advanced. They will use a TTL. For example, if we take your example of caching the web service, you can say a TTL of 5 minutes, and every 5 minutes automatically you will have stuff deleted. But if you do this approach of a caching of a web service, either you have to update the TTL all the time with a counter and so on, or you can use a sorted set. That is a more advanced feature where you use a timestamp to count the number of calls, and you can have a sliding windows of saying my rate limit, it's not 10 calls every second or 10 calls every minute. It's 10 calls every 16 seconds on the sliding window. And you can do that with a single structure and 2 calls to the database. So you have some advanced pattern or kind of application you can do by pushing a little more what you do with data structure.
Okay, cool. And since you talk about time windows, can you do like in Kafka retrieve all records in a certain time, a session window, or
So when you are working, so you have two. I say you will have 2 data structure or 3 data structure. If you can be an advanced developer and you will try to use that in the key itself and do the pattern yourself and so on, not necessarily the best idea. You can use a sorted set. So you have a value on the timestamp and you will sort in this specific moment of time in specific order. But if you use Redis streams, when you do a query, the command is X read. So all the commands that start with the X are all related to streams. You can say start at this specific timestamp, read from this to this in this specific order or not. So you can read the messages the way you want.
Okay, cool. And how does scalability works in Redis?
Very well. Very well, thank you. so the way it works. So we have to first keep in mind that it's a memory database. To be sure that Redis works in a good way, you want your data set to fit in memory. That doesn't mean it doesn't fit on disk, but every operation you do is by default in memory. Disk will be used in case of failure and restart and so on. In the Redis enterprise, you have a stuff that is called Redis on Flash, where you can have more data than memory, but let's forget about this and focus on your questions about it. So the best practice usually with Redis on a single process of Redis, without knowing the use case, you can say, I can deal to 25 gigabytes of data, 25,000 operations per second. So this is kind of the rule of thumb. So what happens if I have more operation? So you need to scale the operations or more data. But you will add other process on the side. So what you will do in this case, you use what we call clustering. So in fact, it's a distribution of the data, sharding of the data. So you can run as many Redis as you want in a horizontal way to distribute the load. Since it's mono-threaded, very easy to use, you can put 2 shards, so 2 processes on the same machine. We have so many cores on our machine, so you will not necessarily put one single process on one single machine. And I am talking about I'm talking about scalability, not high availability for now. So in this case, you will have single thread process on a core, another single threaded process on another core, and you will distribute the load on the memory management of these two processes on the machine. So this is automatic. It's called clustering. The challenge of that is, as you can guess, when you write a key into the database, it will go on one or the other. You will go on how many as you have. So what happens is the clustering API is giving you what we call a slot. It's a number when you do set Sebastian with a specific value. It will do a hash of Sebastian, it will give you a number between 0 and 16 something, and you will know where this number has to go. So if you add more nodes and so on, you will rebalance the cluster automatically. This is for scalability. And the client API, you have to be careful when you choose a client and you need to scale out that your client API is compatible with the cluster API. So this is done by the client.
Okay. Yeah. And so the follow-up question, and you mentioned it, is high availability. How does that work?
So scalability, you divide and conquer. You put many stuff in parallel. High availability, you have to copy the data. It's replication. So what you do is you start another process on another machine. In this case, it's very important to be sure that when you have this process, it will automatically replicate to the other process that is on another machine, and it's done automatically for you. And when if the master or the main process fail, automatically the replica will become the main and take all the read and writes. So it's done the same automatically for you. And this is where it's interesting. We start to see very interesting deployment options, because if you go to redis.io, you install the open source version, the community versions. You have all the documentation needed to do a distributed database, a replicated database, and then can manage as much data as you want, and much load as you want. But you have to do that manually yourself, and you have to really understand how it works. Using managed services on the web, you don't have to take care of that. You just say, I want to use 500 gigabyte database, it will automatically create the shard. I want replication, it will automatically create the shard. When you do an upgrade, and if you need to move from version 5 to 6, it's done. And it's the same now on Kubernetes. If you want to deploy Redis on Kubernetes, most of the time. So on this one, I have not tested the tools or the operator or the Helm or the open source version. But I did work on the enterprise version, and it's quite magic. You just say, I want a 3-node cluster, I want to create a database, activate this replication, save on disk. And when you apply the new version, it will automatically do the rolling upgrade of the database. So it's very nice. It simplifies a lot to deploy a highly scalable, highly available database.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I was about to say, since it's fast, highly available, you're a perfect cloud native citizens, but you already mentioned that it's almost easier to deploy Redis on Kubernetes than doing it on your own machine.
Yeah, I think so. So not as a single process, but when you start to want to have high availability and so on, yes, I would say yes. But what we see more and more on large deployment, at least for if we call about cloud native deployment, people are starting to really build many services, deploying on Kubernetes on various type of Kubernetes. If they deploy that on a cloud provider, if they really deploy their application on a cloud provider, very often they use a Redis as a service. So they don't necessarily run Redis inside their cluster. They will run it outside, managed by somebody else. But it's just kind of a mature. It really depends. If it's a simple cache for communicating between services, they will probably keep it in their Kubernetes environment. If it's more, like really something like they do main database, they use modules to do indexing data, graph database, Bloom filters, they will do that outside.
Okay. And all the major cloud providers have Redis managed service?
So yes, but you know which one is the best, right? And so the thing is, every big cloud provider, AWS, Google, Azure, Alibaba, have a managed Redis. But it's most of the time, it's only good to be used as a cache. And it's okay. It's perfect. It works perfectly as a cache. When you want to start to do a little more, like if you want to use some options about clustering, about high availability between different regions, you want to have a better quality of service and scalability and high availability. This is where people move to Redis Labs Cloud that is running You can choose to run it on Azure, Google, or AWS, but it provides a little more of kind of enterprise features.
Okay, cool, interesting. And yeah, I know we talk about that. You were not too much into Kubernetes until not so long ago, and you had to dive a bit into it.
Yeah.
So you have a fresh view on how is the experience of getting started with Kubernetes. Could you share your experience?
So you have two parts. The way I started to use Kubernetes, at least I've restarted because I played a little bit long time ago. I played when I was at working on OpenShift and OCD and all this. The thing is, for now, what I do all the time now, I start my cluster on Google or Amazon as a managed Kubernetes. I don't manage my Kubernetes myself, and I just try to develop and deploy my services. When you are done with it, like for example, I build an application with 10 different microservices, communications between database, Redis, and so on. When you are done with it, it's very, very nice because it's damn potent. You can quickly deploy. You can rerun, especially, in my job, I have to do very often restart a new demo, show something, add something, explain. So I kill and restart. It takes me 10 minutes to do all the job. So it's perfect. I still have hard time when it's all the initial configurations. I think what I miss as a developer, it's the tools to help me to do the wiring, and I would like to be able to start from the top level and hide all the complexity. It reminds me, as a joke about Kubernetes, the joke that I did is I come from Java EE, right? And I was product manager and software engineers and product manager on the Java EE container from Oracle. I remember how JBoss kicked my butt. And it was back then, everything was XML, and we spent, for any small services, you were spending hours, at least minutes, just doing XML. Yeah. Then you start to have an abstraction layer that by hiding this complexity, be able to do it. And I have the feeling that in 20 years we replaced XML by YAML, but we are still at this stage where you need a little bit too much of configuration, in my opinion. But I am not experimented enough in this kind of cloud native development deployment to say, okay, is it really complex? It's really complex when you don't do it every day, for sure.
Yeah, and also you have that feeling that it's really complex as long you didn't play with it. To be honest, for me, it was so complex, Kubernetes, and when I start to understand it, I say, oh yeah, wow. Oh, it's powerful. Oh, yeah, YAML, but, I think that, but I agree on you. We should have an extra layer of abstraction. We see some stuff, with Spring Boot. You have this scaffold, project. With Quarkus, you can, in one command line, you can create your container. It can generate the YAML file for you and push the container and apply the resources in one single command. That does a lot of magic, and but still, I think it's important. Yeah,
it's not the magic. The magic happened during either run the command on the deployment, but at the end you see what's happening. What I mean by that is when you go to your cube and you look at the resources, you will see what has been happening, so you can learn from it. And this is for me the important part. It's you make it things simple. Making complex stuff possible, but you don't have to make the simple stuff complex from day one. And I think tools like what you were saying, Scaffold, Spring Boot, Quarkus tools, and I tested Scaffold a long time ago. But it makes it really, in an iterative way, you will learn Kubernetes as a developer from the code and from your applications, not from, I need to learn YAML and I need to understand all the concept from Kubernetes before doing one step. You will do kind of this top-down approach. In this case, considering the application will be the top. For me, it's perfect.
It's interesting, this top-down approach. Yeah, I like it. Let me double check the chat because I didn't. No. Oh, yeah, Sun, but it's unrelated. It's probably when I asked you about Nantes and Brittany, you say, do you prefer salted butter or normal?
This one is. it's because you believe butter exists without salt. This is more the fact that.
Okay. People, if you have any questions, it's now or never. And when I say now, it's in the 30 seconds because we are already on the top of the half hour. That went fast. It's always great. The interview goes really fast because it's more chatting than a boring interview. And anyway, I think there's no other questions. People are waiting for the games because now we're going to play some games. I think we will see. But anyway, Doug, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Sebastian.
It was really great discussion and really interesting to hear a bit more about Redis. I was trolling a bit when I say, well, Redis is just a cache. I knew it was a bit more than that, but it's great to hear it from you. And well, enjoy the rest of this weird year. I hope it will end up well. I hope there will be some wind for you that you can go
yes, exactly.
on the sea, do some windsurf. And maybe next year sometime we will be able to meet again. Anyway, I see you next week because next week I will be at the Nantes Jug. So that will be cool as well. Okay.
I will see the game.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Doug. Hey, bye-bye. Okay, so let me remove the banner. Let me see. Oh, we are really sharp on time. That is cool because, let me see. Oh, there was a question. Any tutorial from him, any work or repo from him? Okay. So, I think Doug is still listening or he's on the stream. He will probably share or here in the chat or he will tweet it and I will retweet it. But, great question. How can I start?
I will share some stuff.
Oh, you're there. He's back to come back. Yeah, he will share some stuff. Yeah, so maybe you can, just because you're here, just say it if you have some nice suggestions. No?
So you have Redis University to learn, and then you have github.com/Redis developer. Redis- developer. That you have a repo with many examples and many. But I will drop you some information or share that on GitHub.
Okay. Hey, awesome. That was the awesome comeback. Okay. Thank you, Doug. Okay. So let me see. I'm lost in my screens. Oh yeah, I'm back. Okay. So that was a great interview again. Let me drink some water. And what we are going to do now is, usually I do some live coding. You know what? The live coding will be deploying the games that we are going to play. So, let me see. Let me do this. And you should hear me in Inception mode. Yes. Okay. And maybe I can go on my Twitter account and just to show you. I did a poll. Where is my poll? There is my poll. So I ask you which game do you want to play tomorrow? So today. And well, the vast majority of people wanted to play Quake 3. So I don't know if all the people that voted are here because I see a lot of votes and you are not that many on the on the stream. I can see that. And some people wanted to play Pac-Man. So you know what? What we will do, we will just deploy both games because it's so easy with Kubernetes. Okay. And how are we going to do that? Let me just go on the stream to see if everything goes well. Okay, you should see yourself here. Well, not yourself, but you should see the chat here. Okay, I see myself. Let's go. Let's deploy Quake 3 as a starter. Okay, so while it's getting deployed, we will deploy Pac-Man on the other side. So I don't remember. No. It was not this. Quake 3 Kubernetes. So you just see how I install the games when I do it. And here I just go on this repo here. I showed you that last week, I think. So that is the repo of the of the Quake free that you can deploy on Kubernetes. And for the client, so the game, it's using Quake GS with WebGL, I think, under the root. But anyway, all you need to is to have a cluster. And well, good news, like each week I got here an OpenShift running on Amazon. And what they say is with an existing cluster, deploy the example manifest. Okay? So let me deploy the example manifest. Whoop. Example manifest. That is cool. Let me do that. And then we will change the configuration because, yeah, now I remember. I don't want this configuration. Okay. So, let me deploy this. Let me go here, clear. Let me double check kubectl cluster info. By the way, you saw I've got a new mic, so I'm so proud of that. Let me see. Okay, we are connected, Cubans. I'm on a test. No. So let me create a namespace. kubectl, create namespace, Quake. There we go. And then I go in my Quake namespace. Whoa. That doesn't work. Okay. And now I can just apply this file directly from GitHub. Okay. And let's see what happens. So it's getting deployed. So my deployment Quake is created, service Quake is created, and a config map. Okay, let's see what happens here on my cluster. So let me go to my cluster, to my projects, and I should have here a Quake namespace. Awesome. And if I go to my workloads, I should see here my Quake. Awesome. And I got my pod, which is already running. Awesome. Ready? Let me see. I never watched the logs. Maybe we can check the logs. So here I can see weapon. Oh, here all the weapons. Okay, clients begins. Awesome. What I want to do before we play the game is the configuration, because the game, the Quake game is configured using a config map in the cluster, which is great. So if I go here to my cluster, to my config map, and if I take a look here to the config, it should be really small for you, I guess. Ooh, can I? That is weird. Can I not see it bigger? What? There's one thing I want to change here is the maps. So we got here the free for all for 10 minutes. Okay. So, and then there's another map, free for all. And that's all I want because the capture the flag is not that funny. So here I can just remove that. Let me remove that. Let me save that. And that should redeploy, I think, my, my pod. Is that correct? I'm not sure. Anyway, and now we need one more thing is, we need to make a public route so that you can play with it. Okay. So how can I do that? I'm on OpenShift. Yeah, I'm lucky. So I can use a route. And what I will do here, I will create a route. I will call it Quake. Okay. And I will just select my Quake service and it's running on port 8080, I believe so. I'm not sure now. Okay, let's assume it's there. And let me create it. Okay, there we go. And I double check if it works. And then I will share the link with you. Yeah, let me do here. Sebi. I agree. Oh, and here you have to download. Okay, so it's working. So I can share this one with you already. There we go. James Pong. Oh, to be honest, James, I really searched for a Pong game yesterday, but I will come with something for you next week. I promise I will come with a Pong game that will create pods, or I don't know yet. I will find it. Okay. Okay. So we have the Quake game there, so you can play with it. So people who want to play Quake, go there. Well, it's loading. Let me, oh look, there, it's there. I will join later. Okay, I will join later. I want to deploy also the Pac-Man game because I promised people that you will also be able to play Pac-Man. Okay, but before that, Pac-Man, you remember I have a leaderboard, and for that I also need to have Kafka. Okay, so I'm sorry, Tug, if you're still listening, it's not Redis here in this case, but I'm using Kafka. I could do it with, let me see, someone is, okay, so, no, it's not for me. Let's install Kafka. And how do we install Kafka? Well, first thing, and I'm trying to stick here on the web console, not using the CLI. I will create a new project. I will call it Kafka. Okay, there we go. And let me just close my private messages there. There we go. Okay, and now I create a new project Kafka. And to deploy my cluster, I'm going to use an operator. And for this, I'm going to the operator app. Okay. And here I will look for Kafka. And that should bring me AMQ here. That's the product version and Streamzy. Oh, I'm curious what happens if I type Redis. Oh, look, we get the both. We get the Redis enterprise operator and the Redis upstream operator. So I need to play with that. Promise, Doug, I will try it out for the next time. Anyway, let's install Streamzy. There we go. So Streamzy is the operator for Kafka, the upstream version. I install it. I go for the stable. Let's go. Let's install it. And in the chat, let me know if people are playing Quake already as well. Let me see. So the operator, yeah, there we go. Streamzy is getting connected. Okay, Kafka connect. No, what I want is, yeah, it's not yet installed. So it takes some time before I can install it. Create Kafka. Cool. So look, here I just click on create Kafka. By default, it creates for me a free cluster Kafka. That's exactly what I need. So, sorry, I got my hair here. I'm getting bald, that's why. Anyway, I can keep all the defaults here and just say create. Okay, and if I go here to my workloads, I should see here my zookeepers are getting created. And when I got my zookeepers, it will create my Kafka cluster for me. Let me see in the chat if everything goes well. No, that's the other thread. Oh, I can show you that. That's Restream. So Restream, you are watching probably from YouTube, but we are also streaming on Periscope, on Twitch. So people from Twitch, hello. Sorry, most of the time I ignore you people on Twitch because I'm just watching the chat on YouTube. Okay. And there's also Facebook, but 0 people are watching. Oh, and there are 13 people on Twitch. So hello everyone on Twitch. I will try to have Twitch open next time for next year, to monitor all the chats. Okay. Let me see. I will try to play Pac-Man and Quake at the same time. Hey son, and I want a picture of that. If you manage to do that. No, not VS Code. Let me see. There we go. So he has created my free clusters and now my free zookeepers. And now look, I got my Kafka cluster running. I'm ready to go. And we during the interview, we talked about that with Doug, that it was really easy, the managed service from Redis. And for Kafka, using the operators, it's easier for me to play with Kafka on a cluster than setting up Kafka on my own computer. Okay? Anyway, let's deploy Pac-Man. I create a new project. I call it Pac-Man. There we go. Pac-Man. Okay. In Pac-Man, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to the developer view. I think I showed you that last time. And what you can do here from the developer view, you can deploy a workload by providing a container image, okay? And I already have a container image for my Pac-Man game. So I have 2. So I get the Pac-Man show here, the latest image. It's validated. Okay, I want that to be a deployment. Awesome. And what I can do, I think, yeah, I need to pass another environment variable to point to which Kafka cluster it needs to connect. And now I'm lost. Let me, no. I need to find it again. Don't worry, it's not sensitive data. It's only stuff that doesn't exist anymore. There we go. Let me copy this one here and okay, small array, Kafka, Bootstrap server, awesome. And then I just need to set this. Okay, there we go. And I create here. So here I will create my Kafka, my Pacman game containing the front end and the fact to sending Kafka messages every time that I eat a ghost. Okay, so it should be pretty fast. Container creating. Let's wait for it. Let me double check here. Okay. Let me drink some water. Okay, Pacman is running. And then I have my Kafka stream application that that merge the player's name with the number of ghosts and etc. And it is also a separate application. So I just go here to add, I say a container image and it's called the aggregator version 3. Okay, it's aggregated. And here again, I need to set an environment variable to point to my Kafka cluster. And here the value is the same, but the key is a bit different because it's a Kafka stream. So here you see Bootstrap stream, awesome. And the value is my cluster. That doesn't change because I'm using the default that the operator installed for me. Okay, there we go. That should be good. Let's wait for this one to be created. And once it's running, I can share the link of the Pacman show. So if I go to the Pacman show here and I go to resources, I should have a route here. If I click that route, yeah, we get the Pacman. Okay, let me share the Pacman with you. So people, I deployed both game. Okay, so people can play Pacman or they can play Quake. Okay, what I will also do is bring up the leaderboard of the aggregator. Let's hope the aggregator is working. So, as soon people start eating ghosts, I will see it here. Okay, I'm just curious. I'm just going to check Quake to see if some people are there and see if I can frag one people or two. Because last week, I don't want to say it, but I was playing Quake while I was doing the stream and I was leading in number of frags, I think. So let me join. Let me remove the sound, otherwise. Let me see. Okay, let me see if people are playing. Oh! Yeah, people. So Sunix, oh there you are, Aurélie. Sunix is leading. Okay, let me fix this. Oh, my mouse is not working. So that's going to be funny. That is going to be funny. My mouse is not... I don't have a mouse. Okay, let me try that. And Sun, I want a picture of you playing both games at the same time. Oh, there we go. My mouse is working. Okay. Now we are talking. But I have a really complicated setup here. Where are you people? Oh, Aurélie. I got you now, but... Okay. That was easy. Oh, there's Aurélie again. Okay, with the gunlet, Aurélie. Oh, time limit. It's already time limit. So, next map is the space map. While it's loading to the next map, what I want to do is to check if people are playing. Hey, is Pacman not working or is no one's playing Pacman? Let me check. Okay? Maybe my Kafka isn't working. That could be possible. Let me see that. Okay. That should bring... Oh, yeah, it's working. So no one is playing Pac-Man. I'm leading Pac-Man as well. Okay, but again, the idea here, we still have some time, so we can relax. The idea was to show you I got this cluster which was almost empty. I created it this morning and I had nothing in it. And I was able to deploy these 2 games. Hey, we got a second player there. And I was able to deploy these 2 games there. So that's pretty cool. We still can play. It works. Oh yeah, already with the trackpad. She's playing with the trackpad. Yeah, I know. That's why I connected an old mouse for my son to play it. On a phone. Yeah. With a phone. Tony, are you playing Quake on the phone or Pac-Man on the phone? If you're playing Quake on the phone, I'm really, really impressed. Just tell me in the chat. And let me see here, Quake. Oh, the space map. The space map is so complicated. Let me try to frag some people. Whoa. So I managed to frag. Oh! So we have pretty good players here. Oh, the sun. It's very laggy for me. I don't know if it's the same for you. Oh, there. Look, son. That was cool. Okay, rocket launcher now for me. And I'm number 1. Look. How many players? Oh, I'm Ooh, who was taking the lead? Okay. And oh, I killed myself. Cool. Oh no, I killed myself again. So I'm tired. It was 3. Son, I think I got you the most. Oh, so now I took the lead. Okay, so next week the idea is that we do a bit more or less of this. I will have several games and we can play different games. Maybe I will do a trivia with all questions related to all the shows that we did before. Okay, so let me put here back. Let me see the time. Let me see. Oh, we have a 3rd player playing Pac-Man. Okay, that's pretty cool. On a phone, hard to play. Yeah. Where we need to. Oh, thank you, Tony. Yeah, that's what I'm trying. The idea of the show is have great guests to discuss from. Last week we had Alex Ellis talking a lot about the community. Today it was about Redis. We have a lot of different guests, and then we just have fun. Oh, yeah. I hope the stream is getting okay. I got some weird. You can see it. Weird stuff happening here in my feedback. But yeah, Tony, that's what we try to do. Have some great times, while showing you technical stuff. That's the main idea. Okay? Anyway, I will let the server running for a bit. I need it anyway for tomorrow, so, but I will undeploy Pac-Man and Quake, I think, in 2 hours or 3 hours. So if you want to play, well, you can, okay? It's free access. Next week, I will send you the details. We will have a show for sure. We will be in Christmas mood. Oh look, I got it here. I will try to go in Christmas mood. Okay? yeah, one last thing. If you have a cool demo or something to say and it fits in 2 or 3 minutes, please record it and send it my way. Maybe next week I can broadcast all these small videos. If I can have a video from everyone that is often here on the stream, it would be awesome, okay? Because it's a show for everyone, and yeah, that's it for me. And I wish you an awesome day. And I will leave the channel with 5 minutes, so the next stream can start normally. And I hope you enjoyed everything. Okay? Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.